again, Chuck Bush, Dorman, Fandango, and guys, I'm going to apologize because I didn't want to be on camera. And Mark was like, Chuck, you got to be on camera while I'm telling these stories because they affect you. And I'm like, brother, love you, man. I'll do it. But, this is Dorman in his bedroom in all its glory. So sorry, guys. So, Mark, you were saying that, Steven Spielberg had called and wanted to take a meeting with Kevin Reynolds about turning Proof into a feature film.
Feature film. I'm going to take this as a moment to back up and tell you just a few tiny notes from the making of Proof. So, two interesting things. One was going to be the production. So the production of Proof, originally we were going to try to do it. We didn't have green screen back then. We didn't have blue screen. We were going to just try to do it with black and white contrast. If you know anything about filmmaking, we were just going to try to. And we did a test where we tried to hang Clifford, by a strap in a dark room with lights on him, and then see if we could just do kind of a super. It looked horrible. Wow. Because if you have any experience that, you realize there's too many blacks that will drop out. I mean, there's no way you can control it. That's why they do it as a green screen. So we decided to go, and that's the way Kevin Reynolds had written the screenplay. He planned on doing it with all trying to mix. All right, it wasn't going to work. Well, he didn't realize, I think, when he hired me, that I have my pilot's license. I've had my pilot's license since I was 17. I've flown across the United States multiple times. So when we made the movie, I was probably 22. And so I'd already flown airplanes. And so I said, we're going to do this live. We're going to do it real. And so we went out and did research, and we found a stunt parachutist who is a base jumper. He's the type of guy that jumps off of El Capitan and Yosemite and stuff like that. So we found him in LA, and he was going to live shoot all the parachuting sequences. Wow. And then I was going to actually fly the airplane. So in the movie, all the stunts you see, I flew those. And there are several of those where I did come very close to killing myself.
You don't say.
Did not know it until I saw the footage, and I realized, oh, wow, that was really close.
Right.
And the other one, I knew at the time.
Yeah.
The other one, I knew I almost killed myself. You know in the moment.
Now you're
you've heard those things about how you.
You're talking about Proof, though, right? You're
talking about the student film.
Yeah.
We're talking about the student film.
Okay.
So it was a very ambitious production for a student film.
Yes.
And the movie is currently available on YouTube.
Wow.
It's cut up into 3 sections. I'll tell you a quick reason why it's available on YouTube. What we didn't realize is that after we made the movie, we would give a video copy to anyone who worked on the movie. And of course, we had some parachutists, like the stunt parachutist. He worked on the movie. He got a copy. Well, then he would show a copy to a friend of his. A friend of his would love the parachuting. He'd make a copy of it. And he'd make there were bootleg copies of the tape that went down and down and down.
Wow.
Proof became legendary in parachuting school. To this day, I bet you if you went to a parachuting school and there was any parachutist there that's over 30, chances are he's seen the student film. If you want to see it, you can go on YouTube. I'm sure Chuck can probably find a link of it and put it up on the website.
Absolutely.
It just is called Proof, Fandango Proof, or Student Film Proof, and it's broken into 3 sections. So you can see production value. And what's kind of fun about it is the beginning of the movie looks like a student film. Kind of interesting shots, very grainy, kind of shaky camera. It's kind of a student film, looks pretty good. And then all of a sudden this airplane comes into it. Then you see real things happening with an airplane, and you're going, what is going on?
Production value.
This movie. You don't expect that to happen in a movie that looks like a student film. So the only other note I would really give from that is we're in the casting. Soon this is going to come to Chuck. We're casting for the student film. And I think if you look on the website, you'll know how Marvin got involved in the film, because Marvin McIntyre, who plays Truman Sparks in Fandango, he also was in the student film. But we were casting for a lot of people. And a lot of people would come in, they wouldn't get the part. one of the young actors who had no film credits, never been in a movie, young actor came in, auditioned for us, and we didn't give him the part. His name is Kevin Costner.
And that's
Kevin Costner auditioned for us. And we did not get, we thought he was nice. We thought he was okay. But he wasn't really polished yet. And so we didn't give him the part. And we hired a man named Mark Sawyer. I have now given the headshot, which I kept from film school. I have now given it to the Ultimate Fandango organizers. They actually have the physical headshot Kevin Costner would have given to us in 1980. And on the back of it is like his phone number of his apartment.
Yes.
If you call it now, you will not get him there. I promise you, he no longer lives in that apartment.
No longer.
That's kind of, there are many other stories about the student film, but it was very ambitious. We were all very happy with it. We were all very proud. We were all real excited. And before the semester is over, Kevin Reynolds now has the option to turn it into film. And so I worked with Kevin. I'd already worked with Kevin a lot, so I kept working with him. I wasn't going to get a big credit because I'm not in any of the guilds, and I'm not, so I was just his assistant. I did, one of the big things I was responsible for was all the location scouting. So most of the locations that you see in the movie were locations I had found. I found like Air Force Base. I think Kevin and I together, we probably found Dom Rock. That's a pretty obvious place where you're going to stop and look because the road goes right by. So I don't remember if I did that first or if Kevin and I did that together. I forgot how we found Dom, but like I know I found Chad Ortega, which was just a wrecked building. I mean, it wasn't painted as Chad Ortega. It was just an old adobe building falling apart in the desert. I took photos of it and got it back, and Kevin liked it, and so we painted it. And we just, I just found they were fun. It was fun. Now, some of the locations Kevin already knew we had to go to. I mean, he loved the town of Marfa, so we had to go to, Marfa, Fort Davis, Alpine. This was a whole stretch that we absolutely were going to be filming there just because Kevin loved that part of Texas. So there was no way we weren't going to film there. I think that's where we found Dom. I think it was on that trip. I think it was the airport and Chad Ortega's. I think I did those all on a separate trip. So I'm trying to think of anything else on location scouting. Only thing I would tell on Dom Rock then. So now when you see Dom Rock, that's not the actual original Dom Rock. That obviously was chiseled into a rock. You see another, if you ever go to that location on any of the tours, see another little Dom chiseled into a rock a little bit further away from the really big one. That was just an early attempt by the production, the art department, was sampled for Kevin, and then he didn't like it, so they moved it down to another one.
Oh, wow.
Some of the locations that were hard to find were the train scene, the train and the car.
Yeah.
Okay. So that one, I first researched that out of Los Angeles, where I took maps and maps and maps, the whole Southwest, not just Texas, anything that was desert. All I did was I would follow train routes, railroad lines, and then I would find when they would come in close to a road. And then I would call the local sheriff department and ask them if they would just drive over and take a picture for me.
Wow.
Then I slowly narrowed it down until I finally found a few sites that looked like they were doable. And then I would drive out to that site and see if I thought we could physically shoot there. Because lots of times there'd be telephone poles between the track and the road that we're on. Now, I also want to let everybody know, this would be something that Kevin probably hasn't told anyone. And most people won't know it unless they were Ultimate Fandango. Scene that you currently see in the railroad car scene is not the original scene as written.
Right.
The original scene is written when they tie that cable to the front of the Cadillac, the train takes off. It works. The car gets yanked out of screen, starts getting pulled behind the train. And at first the guys are thinking, this is great. And they're driving out in the road and they're getting pulled along. then slowly what starts happening is there starts to be brush, starts to be like fence posts coming in that are getting chopped down by the cable. So they realize, okay, this doesn't work very well. So they ease their way back to railroad tracks, and they get up on the railroad tracks, and now it's rough. You know, they go, oh my God, this is terribly rough. So then they drive back down the other side, right? Drive way out onto the side, and they go really wide because they're trying to find smooth ground. So it's like being a water skier. They're being a water skier behind the
water
train.
skiing.
Yeah. So they pull the caddy way off to the side, and they find really nice dirt. Until they look ahead, they realize it was either, I don't remember exactly. It's either a herd of cattle, or I believe what it was is that there's a gorge or something.
Yes, it was a train. It was a train bridge and a gorge.
Yeah. So they realize they're in trouble. So this isn't going to work. So they got to get back. But now they can't do it slowly. So they cut back quickly. Now they're really racing back towards the train track. And when they hit the embankment, it's like hitting the wake on a ski jumper. They hit it, they jump. At this moment, Kevin Reynolds was going to shoot it like an Apollo rocket launch. As soon as they hit the tracks, he was going to do this camera, was looking straight up. You were just going to see let's say you're looking straight up, and you're going to see the nose of the Cadillac coming into the shot like a spaceship taking off with all the dust flowing off the nose. And he was going to do it in super slow motion, make it look like a spaceship. And it was going to be like shooting up like this, because it would be shooting straight up into the air with all this dust coming off. Then he was going to shoot inside to the shot of the Groovers, and they were all going to be sitting in their chairs like astronauts, all locked in. They're all, like the angle, like they're like, and he'd probably have sound effects of like, NASA space shot. So he was doing a shot, shot. Then the next shot is he was going to take from a helicopter. Next couple shots are helicopter. This shot was going to be a helicopter. He was going to have just the last part of the fin of a Cadillac, put on a piece of something that was movable. He was going to be looking down at the ground where all the dust was, and as the helicopter's pulling away from the ground as if we've done liftoff with a rocket, he was going to be slowly sliding the last edge of the Cadillac fin past the camera, like you would see on the space shot. Okay. Then he was going to get this wide angle shot. If you watch the movie, there's a lot of big, beautiful Texas landscapes. He's going to take one of these Texas landscapes with a little windmill. You were going to see the Cadillac arcing through the sky over the top of the windmill with dust flying off the top of it. You come back into the guys. You're going to be starting to come back down towards the ground. And then the last shot was going to be awesome. I love this last shot. He was going to take a hauled out Cadillac shell, strap it underneath the helicopter. We didn't have CGI back then. We were going to do all this stuff for real. Okay, we come from the school of Bridge on a River Kwai. If you want to blow up a bridge, you blow up a real bridge. Okay, but we were going to strap a Cadillac underneath the helicopter with the camera faced right down onto the hood. And then we were going to drop the Cadillac like a bomb. You were just going to see it slowly tip its nose down and then arc away from you towards the ground like a Bombay being released in Dr. Strangelove. And then you're going to come and they were going to crash and they were going to survive. And then eventually Dorman goes off and he disconnects the cable. Producers looked at this 3-minute scene and said the budget of this scene is the same as the budget of the rest of your movie.
Yep, I can see it.
Said, sounds great. This is going to cost the same as the rest of your movie.
Wow.
And Kevin tried to shorten it. Kevin tried to shorten it. And Kevin tried to shorten it. And he went, okay, I guess what? When the train comes, the front end just gets snapped off. And then we shortened it. That was it. I wished we had shot that other scene. I don't know if it would have worked, but I would have loved to have been there dropping that Cadillac. I would have loved to have done that.
And most people don't realize when the Cadillac pulls in the gas station, the wheels are all wobbly.
Right.
That's why, because we shot it out of sequence, and the wheels were all wobbly because it's supposed at that moment that we had crashed the car.
Yeah. And so you didn't know that the front end had been pulled off. That whole sequence, don't know if we storyboarded that. If we did storyboard it, it'd be with Ultimate Fandango, because I turned over all my storyboards to you guys. I don't know if it ever got storyboarded, or if the storyboards were ever kept.
Wow.
But I let you know, it was hard to find that location because there was a lot of extra stuff I needed to shot between the train tracks and the road. It was a very complicated sequence. It was originally planned to be shot. Of course, we ended up never shooting.
Cool. Let's take a break here because we're going to be running out of time. I'm gonna
That's
stop
a good
it and
place to
pick
take
back up. All right, hang on just one sec.